What's up, class? Evans here. Today we're going to be making this item. Now I had you draw it by hand and we did a full section. Now I'm going to show you how you can use Onshape to make the same type of drawing, but it does all the drawing for you. So let's get started with that. And to do that, you need to kind of collect the size dimensions of this. Now, you can get a ruler out and kind of measure it, or you can kind of base it off of how many squares everything is. So if you look around this area here, each one of these squares represents a fourth of an inch. So that means if you line up 4 squares together, then you would have 1 inch. For example, when you drew this and you projected it down here, now assuming that you did it as correct as possible, it should have been 4 squares wide, which means it is a 1-inch diameter hole. Now I can use that to figure out how tall this is and where this cut is and where the diameter of this is and how wide this is. In the other dimension, what you can do is just take like a piece of paper or a ruler, line it up to your paper, find out how long that is on the paper, and then put it up against the squares. And most of these things seem to fall at about a square or a square and a half for sizing. Which means everything is, 1 inch, an inch and a quarter, an inch and a half, inch and 3/4, 2 inches, and so forth. So the first thing that you need to do is to go ahead and create a block. And then we're going to drill everything through it. So we have to open up Onshape and hit create. And we're going to create a document. Now, we don't need to put it in any folders or anything like that. So if you have a folder, you can back up from it and just kind of put it in your main area. Let's just call it a full section view. Full section example. And that will be fine. And then put your class period and your initials. So let's say it's a first period, and then my initials are JLE. And then you would do the same. So if you're in first period, put 1, and then your initials. Or if you're in fourth period, put 4, and then your initials. If you're on an A day or B day, you can put A or B also, just like we've done with all the other stuff. So hit create. Now you're going to want to create a block by extruding it. If you count it, this item is 12 squares across, which ends up being 3 inches. And this is 18 squares across this way, that's width. That ends up being 4.5 inches. And the height of this is 10 squares, which makes it 2.5 inches. So what you need to do is create that. Now to create this, if you remember, we want to create a sketch. You can put it on any plane you want. I'm going to put it from the top view because we have a pretty good image of the top of it right here to kind of follow along. And I'm going to use a center point rectangle. Now you can use any rectangle you want, but I like things to be nice and centered. So I'm going to expand out here, and I want this to be, it's 18 squares wide, which ended up being 4.5. And then I'm going to hit tab, enter. And then it is 12 squares in depth, so that's 3 inches, enter. And again, if you don't have one of these dimensions, you can always click the dimension tool and you can place the dimension anywhere you want and then type what it is. But this, I like using the center one because it puts it right in the middle. It makes it a little bit easier to kind of make everything later. So I want to hit the check mark and then, of course, extrude this shape. Should say new right here. And I want that to be a height of 10 squares, which is 2.5 inches. And hit the check mark. So if I hit this corner here, I can kind of see what I've made. Got a little block there. Now, I want to cut on the top of it a hole that goes all the way through. So I'm going to create a sketch here. And I'm going to click a center point circle lined up with the center right here. See those dotted lines? And I want this to be a 1-inch diameter. Now, I also need to clarify how far over that is. Which, if you measure it, it's 6 squares, which is 1.5. And I hit the check mark, and I'm going to cut that all the way through. And that should go all the way through all. So all we have to do is put through all as a remove. I want to look at it from the side to make sure it's not popping out of the top. It is going through the bottom. If it's not, you hit this little button here and it flips it going downwards and hit the check mark. Now we need to put the big circle, the counter bore. I think this one is about 1 inch in radius, maybe a little bit more. So I'm going to create a sketch from the top. I want to reference the center of the other circle there. And if it's 1.25 inches, that would make it a diameter of 2.5. Let's see what that looks like. Does that look similar? Maybe it's less. It might be a diameter of 1 1/8. I wasn't quite sure, which would make it 2 1/4, which is 2.25. That looks a little bit closer. Yes, I think that's what it is. So I'm going to extrude that as a height. If I go straight from here over, here we can just draw a line. Looks like it's 2.5. So that would be a quarter, and then plus half a quarter, which is 1/8, which would be 5/8. Yes. So I want to extrude that as a cut going down. Remove. That should be 5/8 of an inch. Just going to put it as a fraction. There we go. And hit the check mark. Looks good. Now we have a cut right here, a rectangle that goes halfway down, and it's the same width as this. So I'm going to have you do that on your own. All right, so it should look something like this. One thing that I want you to be sure to do is make sure that you have all the right dimensions. This item goes from the center of this face right here. It's right in the middle of the top of it, and it goes down to the middle of this, and it goes right to the center of this hole back here. So you have all those dimensions down. You should be able to subtract them or figure them out, but I'll give you a hint. Every dimension is a whole number with the exception of one, and that is this one right here. The height of this thing is 2.5, and the bottom of this is right in the middle of it, so it's half of 2.5. So make sure that when you're placing this, that's the only one that isn't a whole number. The rest of them are whole numbers, including how far it is off of the edges. And you should be able to figure that out, being that all the answers are whole numbers. Now, the last thing that we need is to produce a sketch off the top so that we can have this weird angled cut right here. So we got a circle. It's got to line up to the center. See how it's lining up there? Got to line up to the center. I measured this thing, and it seems to me like it's 5 squares over, which would be 1 1/4 inches in diameter. And if I double that, then I'll have, 1 1/4 inches in radius. If I double that, then that will be the diameter, which should be 2.5, 2.5. And then how far over it is 2 squares over from the outer edge, which would be 1/2 inch. And then all I need to do is quickly extrude that all the way down. Make sure you get all parts of that circle there. And of course, it needs to be a remove. So, and all the way through. And check mark. Now, the last thing that we need is to create a drawing for this. And just so that it looks nicer, I'm going to hide all of these planes. You can always bring them back if you needed to for some reason. If you get rid of the planes, then it kind of can zoom in a little further. Now we're going to produce a drawing page, which is actually pretty easy to do. I'm going to come over here and click create a drawing. Yours will probably open up with a ton of examples here, but we're just going to do the one that says inch, ANSI inch. And ANSI is American National Standards Institute, something like that. Anyways, they make standards for all types of engineering things, and this is like a certain size of paper. So I'm going to hit OK. Now, just so that you know, on the school's network has a hard time loading the drawing pages. So if yours doesn't open up like this within about a 10-second count, this is what I need you to do. And please pay attention. And this is a trick I learned from another student. So the network seems to kind of have a hard time loading these drawing pages. So I'm going to hit copy, so Control C, and I'm going to open up a new tab, and I'm going to hit paste, and I'm going to press enter. Now, it can't have two of the same drawing pages open at a time. So it says, hey, you already have it open somewhere else. Do you want to open in this tab? And then you say, yeah, open it. Now, if this page does not open in about 5 seconds, which on mine it is because I'm from home as I'm recording this video, so it will load pretty quick. But the school network seems to not know how to handle the authentication. I don't know. Authenticity, the certificate. I don't know all that stuff. But I know it's the network that's the problem. If it doesn't open it in that next tab in about 5-6 seconds, jump over to the original tab and press open. If it doesn't open it there in about 5 or 6 seconds, jump over to your second tab, press open. As long as one of them eventually opens up the drawing page, you're good to go. You only need to do it until it looks like this. Once it does open for you, you should have an insert view opened. If not, you can click to open it, and then you click insert, and we're going to find the part. It should be in there if you can't find it. And I think I would like a slightly different size. Let's see what 1:1 does. Might be too big. Let me see how big that looks. Oh, and I don't want to do the front view. I want to do the top view. So let's see. We got top. Yeah, that's not going to fit. Front. So let me double click that guy and let's change this. I think I can just type in. I'm going to put 1 to 1.5. That fits. All right, check mark. And then I'm going to hit projected view. Click on this, go over to the side, and bring that view. And I'm still selected on projected view, so I don't have to click it again. And I'm going to click on this view and go over here. And that gives me the 3D view. Hit escape. I don't want this front view because I want to have the drawn view here. So I'm going to press delete after I've selected it. And I'm going to come over here to section view. Now, if I look at the example, the section view is in the right side, right in the middle. So I'm going to come over here to the middle. See how it gives me that plus sign right there? So come over here to the middle, click once. Go all the way to the left and try my best to line it up to the top view. I don't know how to snap it to it, but if you figure that out, send me a message. So I'm going to click here, and now I've had it draw my section view for me right away. See how easy that was instead of drawing it by hand? All right, last two things. I want to put a title on this. I'm going to double click this and delete those little dots and type full section view example. And right below that, I'm going to type my name. Of course, you're going to type your name. Don't type my name, type your name. And that's it. That's how you do a section view. It's pretty easy to accomplish and easy to set up. And I am going to now share it. Now, to share it, you need to do two things for me. A, you need to give me permission to see this. To do that, you need to add my email. Now, my email should come up automatically for you because I've connected to all of you in class. But just in case something weird is happening and it's not showing up, then you can just type my email in full and send it to me. Of course, I can't send it to myself. It will say, hey, this is you. You can't do that. So I'll send it to fake me and hit share. You should see my name come up here. You actually should see a picture too. The next thing that you need, now if you don't see anything up here, that means you didn't share it to me. And I've told you a lot of this before. A lot of you have told you this before. If you type in my name and then don't hit the share button, that's like typing a text message to someone and never pressing send. They don't see it. They just see you typing infinitely. Just shows the dots. Yeah, they're going to send you a message one day. No, just send it to me. And then hit link sharing. Come over here and click turn on link sharing. Then click copy to clipboard. Notice how it gives me another line here. Now with that copy to clipboard will allow you to paste it into any other way of sharing this file with me. For you, there's two places I have you guys sharing with me. For my high school students, you're sharing me with Canvas. So just hit start assignment and hit Control V for paste and paste it into the text window. Then after you do that, press enter and it will create a link that I can actually click on and then submit it. For my 8th graders, go ahead and send it to me through Google Classroom, of course. Same thing. Hit Control V, hit enter so that it creates a hyperlink, and then submit assignment to me. Once you submit it, then I can check your work and grade it. And since I've showed you pretty much how to do everything, it should be an easy A. Thank you very much, and I can't wait to grade your assignments.